Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ. Welcome to the 100 Guys.
Hung's laying in bed like, what the fuck?
Episode 2. Thank you guys for checking it out. If you haven't seen the first one, I advise you
do not watch it. Oh.
But it's quite a long time.
Yeah, it's a tough watch.
It's a we'll say not worth the watch.
Not really.
Not worth the hour and 41 minutes.
Don't put the time in.
But thank you for being back. With that said, let's jump into our first topic. I was gonna like intro this shit, but okay, here I'm gonna do the intro, but I'm gonna preface it with saying this might be bad, so we might have to cut this out, but we won't because it's a podcast.
You do you, honestly. However,
welcome back to the national tragedy of
oh
the
my
week.
god,
This week,
dude. We're literally not going to have friends after.
Okay, no, this is actually a serious topic. You see, the thing about it, though, is that, like, we have another national tragedy every fucking week.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So, Texas. Are you talking about the Texas thing? Or?
Yeah. 27
or Kevin
people,
Spacey.
God, oh, well.
They're both national tragedies, to be honest.
Okay, we'll jump into Kevin Spacey after this. But,
okay.
No, so, do you know the details on the Texas one, for the most part? Because all I heard was, what was it, assault rifle, 27 killed, a few more injured.
I also heard he did not have a chainsaw bayonet on it.
Okay.
Did you hear about that detail? You didn't see that? Okay,
never
mind. Then it's that'll be lost on you. Straight.
Well, like most things. But yeah. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any,
pretty nutty.
Pretty nutty.
Pretty. I mean, fair to say, it's pretty nutty.
Fair to say.
No, I really honestly don't know that much about the details of it. I don't know how close to this I need to be.
Yeah.
But
to be honest, yeah, I don't know. It's the thing that's almost, well, not just as frightening as a tragedy, but like it's sad that it's like we have one to keep up with every week. It's like we come back here and there's another one. Like,
yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I'm against national tragedies, bro. I'm against mass shootings. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Not a fan. No, but
it's a brave stance.
No, but like in all seriousness, it's like it's yeah, that's the correct phrase. It's sad that like that's a thing. It's like every week we have something to count up on. There was also New York in between.
Oh yeah,
8 people. Yeah. Fucking nutty dog.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what we like would have to contribute to that hasn't already been said by people much more qualified. But
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
I
mean, but yeah, be
Skull and Bones. Fear the number 11.
Fear the number 11. Like,
fear it.
And that's like the moral of the story here.
Yeah. I think we can move on to our second national tragedy.
Oh my god,
Kevin.
It's not even just Kevin Spacey at this point. It's literally just.
Well, we were talking earlier. Louis C.K. might be getting in some trouble with that too. I mean, if the allegations are correct, then the trouble is well deserved. I think, to say the least.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Louis. Like, I've followed his work for like 5-6 years. So it's like that's kind of a big deal. Like, at least for me personally, it was kind of like similar to the way that Kevin Spacey was to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough.
Because I mean, you were probably the biggest Kevin Spacey fan that I knew.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a big hit for Advanced Warfare 2.
Big dip for Advanced Warfare 2.
I mean,
how are you liking Call of Duty?
One topic at a time.
That's enough Kevin Spacey.
No, the thing, okay, like you said, like if the allegations are true, obviously it's horrible and like indefensible.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, that being said, preface with that, like, so I don't want people to take this as me saying that, like, I don't know, like, people shouldn't come out and, like, you know, expose these people if these things happen, you know?
Yeah, no,
but like,
I think I know where you're going with it.
But like, obviously, it sucks that it's somebody that, like, you know, is like, I don't know, kind of like at such a huge point in his career, you know?
Yeah. Because he kind of broke into like the upper echelon of actors.
Yeah.
Essentially at this point.
Yeah. And so that, I mean, what am I saying? I feel like that still sounds like I'm like trying to defend him. I'm not. I'm saying what I'm trying to say.
That really crossed.
No, what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I don't know why he would do. Okay, well, it sounds like, at least for the Anthony Rapp thing, which was the first thing that kind of started the whole thing, that happened like 30 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds like, from my understanding of it, there was still stuff going on with like people on House of Cards.
Did you hear on Joe Rogan like him talking about it?
No.
Is that he would openly like sexually harass like. Now I don't know if this is 100% true, but he said that he would like openly sexually harass like male like PAs and shit like on set.
Jesus. Yeah, like, see that's
this wasn't just this is like something where,
yeah, I'm not saying so what I'm saying, to clarify, is I'm not defending him by saying, oh, well, why did this have to happen, why did it have to be Kevin Spacey, because I love Kevin Spacey. What I'm saying is it's sad to see that he would throw away his like whole career and stuff for this.
Yeah, kind of that too, but also like looking at it, it kind of shows you like the second life of some of those like headlining famous actors can sometimes have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's sad.
Well, I guess you gotta, okay.
Like everybody has, like for better or worse, kind of their darker side, but
yeah,
to see somebody go to that extent is just like.
Yeah. So
if the allegations are true, of course.
Yeah. Obviously, I've never been.
It sounds like it's a yes.
Yeah. Obviously, I've never been like a successful actor in Hollywood or whatever, but I imagine. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I've never been a successful actor. I've never starred in a Netflix original, but I just have to imagine that in order to get to that point, not only do you have to be ridiculously talented, you have to kind of know that you're that talented to even attempt it. So you have to think about like just like the type of people you're gonna get in those like in that position, like the people who are gonna go for that, and then like. Knowing that it's such like a volatile, that's the word. Yeah. Such a volatile like career path, and like
it can be over. And
but to still just believe like that it's gonna work out for you. And so you have to have like a ton of just like blind self-belief at the beginning, and then to get to the point that he was at or whatever, and then just have all of that like blind self-belief just be like vindicated. Then like you just got to even think you're like. Even more, even more like superior to like everybody else. So I can see how those kind of personality types would align, and how you could get a lot of people who get caught up in these situations in that type of field.
Yeah.
Same thing with like professional like athletes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean what you're talking about, like getting into that. Like if you look at it objectively, it's not a good idea to get into something like acting, because the chances of that happening are an extremely slim thing.
Yeah.
So when those guys beat the almost impossible odds. I could imagine how some of them, how their confidence turns into a rather form of cockiness to an extent.
Yeah.
When they get, yeah. But that's to a whole new level, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Just that, yeah. That was my only thoughts on it. Obviously, because there's really not much else we can say other than just like speculation about it.
I know we can like quote somebody that was around with him. John Barenthal was on like The Walking Dead. He was in Baby Driver, Wolf of Wall Street. Worked with Kevin Spacey on Baby Driver. I was talking to you about this a tiny bit earlier. He just did an interview on like a competing podcast, a close competitor, a close second.
Yeah.
Sam and Jim Norton show, where he was saying that Kevin Spacey on set like was known as a little bit of a bully, like when it happened, he wasn't 100% shocked, but still like he didn't think it'd be like to that level or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the whole thing about Anthony Rapp being 14 makes this all a little more serious. So,
yeah, well,
not that
that's
it
the thing.
If it was a person of age,
honestly,
but
right or wrong, I kind of trust the Anthony Rapp thing like the least out of all of them, just because for the simple fact that it was so long ago and he was so young at the time, and it's so blurry, I guess, that I wouldn't really, if that was the only person that had come out against Kevin Spacey and everybody else was just acting like he was, such a great guy, I'd be less inclined to believe that, that it happened and stuff.
Yeah, but
now with all this stuff,
now,
he,
all the actors that have worked with him don't have very good things to say.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't sound like everybody that like. Obviously, we can just speculate because we don't know him or anybody in that like circle. But like, it sounds to me like the people that are in that circle and have been around him aren't as surprised as you might think.
Because I know at least the one example I used, like the actor John Barenthal, who now has like a pretty decent track record and is kind of gaining prestige as an actor within that industry. He said that when he came up and first like started working with him and stuff, like he looked up to this guy. Like he watched him like as a child, because John Barenthal, the actor I was talking about, started off doing plays.
Yeah.
And that's what Kevin Spacey was doing early in his career.
At the Anthony Rapp, or at the time of the Anthony Rapp thing, right?
Yeah.
They were both on Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was something where he was looking up to him, and then he was severely disappointed with at least how he held himself around others.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. Disk is too slow. What? How did
The
you see
disc
that
is
pop
too
up
slow.
again?
It popped up like 2 seconds ago.
Okay. Quick technical difficulty break. We will be back in a minute. We're good.
Back into it.
We're Gucci. Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. Thought we'd have those
Every
people
single
this
time.
week, but my computer is... I don't know what's up with my computer. Like, I dropped $2,000 on this thing. It fucking sucks ass. I give it a fucking sucks ass out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. But...
Straight at him with the profanity. Damn.
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Excuse me.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's clearly worse than... Yeah, but...
I think we can all agree. Much. Okay.
No,
Right.
So let's
What
see
else?
Oh,
World
yeah,
War
I was
II.
going to bring up earlier,
Oh.
but I was going to talk about...
Never mind.
Do you have anything else to add to...
On that?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, there's not much.
Great guy.
Hell of a man. Oh, dude.
Obviously, the majority of this is speculation, but we still like are quoting people that worked with him. So that's kind of some credence behind those things.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
No. Other than that, I can't really. There's not really much we can realistically add that like has any weight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like it's not even
But
anything else would either be just like blind speculation. Yeah. Or sorry, died there for a second. Anyway, it'd either be like blind speculation, or it would just be us like reciting the events that happened. And I think by this point, everybody who wants to know about it already knows. There's nothing really that's, especially with like Kevin Spacey, nothing really new has come out in the last like week or so, has it?
No, it hasn't.
It's all been out there for a while.
The biggest thing, now that we're on the sexual assault / harassment topic, Louis C.K., too, like we mentioned earlier before. Did we hop into that for...
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, we have the technical difficulty break. But yeah, 5 women coming forward. Let's see. Start off with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Then, let's see, who else was it too? Oh yeah, Dustin Hoffman. He's getting in trouble too. Honestly, I haven't looked into the Dustin Hoffman one enough to really like kind of speculate on it.
Neither have I.
But and then there's the Louis Kevin Spacey. Have there been any other big actors? I don't think I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't really followed it as close as I maybe should have. Just because I don't.
So much going on.
Usually
Like we were
with
talking about earlier,
with those stories, I don't feel like there's usually that much there, to look at once you hear about like, because especially with like when the Anthony Rapp thing first came out, I didn't really look that into it. I looked at what he had claimed had happened, and then obviously I read, Kevin Spacey's response, and then I kind of followed the fallout.
Worse, like for the most part.
I didn't think it was that bad. What?
It was like, well, most people that aren't guilty usually say that they're not guilty within their response. Like his essentially whole response was, well, the way the media handled it was almost as bad as his response, maybe even worse.
Well, yeah, because the media made it sound like his response basically was just coming out as gay.
All the headlines were like, Kevin Spacey comes out as gay. Like that was like all the headlines.
Yeah.
But his response was essentially, I'm gay, and I had a drinking problem, and I don't remember because this was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I buy that. What am I saying? That's a pretty shitty response in the sense of him acting like he didn't remember it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you... okay, what am I trying to say here? I've never, like, sexually assaulted a 14-year-old boy. But, like, I have to imagine that if I had, I would at least remember... Like, I at least would remember it.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't just be like a, like... I don't feel like I would have like an in the middle response, like you were saying, like well, I mean, I guess it could have, Shit, I did used to drink a lot, and I guess I mean, he was at that point. Yeah, I mean,
he was looking pretty good that night.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I buy that I would have to like imagine that he would remember. Jesus, remember that? But other than like, at least he didn't like flat out deny it, and he didn't hide from it like people acted like he did. People acted like he hid behind like indifference, but he didn't like just... People were acting like you were saying, like the media and stuff, like basically made the entire story...
The media did really fuck up.
I think they kind of like swayed people's opinions in the wrong way even more because they made it sound like the story was that he came out as gay.
Yeah.
And then
looking at all the headlines.
Yeah.
Like I first had thought before I actually took the time to read through everything. It sounded like Kevin Spacey just came out as gay.
Yeah, and so if you hadn't read his actual, if you hadn't read the actual like response, which was, it wasn't even that long ago, it was like a 2-paragraph thing.
You want me to pull it up and we can?
Sure. But yeah, he like. If you had never seen the actual response and all you had seen was these headlines, I could see how you would think he just was trying to hide behind coming out as gay, but he did address the allegations directly. He basically just said it was 30 years ago. You know, if it did happen, I was drunk. I don't remember it and stuff, which is about all you can say, you know. Again, I feel like that's a pretty memorable thing, but that's also not for me to determine, you know. I don't know. Like, I mean,
But I mean...
A lot of people do things while they're drunk that they don't remember, especially 30 years down the road. But
not a justification.
No, it's not. No, it's not a justification. It's a
I understand.
It's a justification of him. It's understandable that he wouldn't remember it. I guess theoretically.
Okay.
You know, so I like.
You fucking sexist. No, I get that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, this tweet's blown up. 84,000 likes. Really did well for...
Kind of went viral.
Fucking heard of me. 84,000 likes on Twitter. Check me out, dog. Let's read this shit real quick. Please stand by for my reading. I barely made it out of the 5th grade, so we'll see how this goes. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. I'm beyond horrified to hear his story. I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago. But if I did behave then, as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior. And I'm so sorry for the feelings he describes, having carried with him all these years. This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I know that there are stories out there about me, and that some have been fueled by the fact that I have been so protective of my privacy. As those closest to me know, in my life I've had relationships with both men and women. This is the part where it's like, I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose now to live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly, and that starts with examining my own behavior. Kevin Spacey. So I mean, it's like not the ideal way to respond.
But there is no ideal way to respond to that, you know?
That is true. I've never
because
been in that situation.
either he picks the middle road like he did, and we're saying it's not ideal, or he flat out denies it, and then people come after him for acting like it didn't happen.
But it's kind of tough.
Or he admits it, and then
you look at
people.
The majority of the response is him talking about being gay, which probably shouldn't have been like the focus.
Yeah, I get that, but I also get that. I also get from his perspective, there's not, you know, after what he said, you know, in there at the very beginning, there's not much else he can say. No. You know, he addressed, you know, the allegations. He
Seems
made.
Pretty innocent to me.
Yeah, like, what am I saying? It's not. There's just not much more he could say. You know.
Not really. I did it.
You know.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. I mean, nothing will probably come of this, at least legally.
Well, legally, it can't come. I mean, especially with that Anthony Rapp thing. Well, one, it's 30 years later,
right? It's
something like that. So the statute of limitations is probably long gone. Yeah. One, two, there's no way there's enough evidence just out of an Anthony Rapp accusation to, you know, actually.
Like a rape kit, kind of. Well,
yeah. Well,
that wouldn't work either. Just to clarify, it wasn't actual sexual. Well, what would you technically define it as? Because
it was sexual assault for sure.
Okay, so
if you know what his accusation
was between like raping somebody
and from what I had heard, he didn't claim he raped.
Still, like, really, what I heard is that he like threw him on the bed.
Either way,
Anthony Rapp was saying like, no, Kevin Spacey like didn't move forward with that act, which is, I think that's correct. Right?
As far as I know, it is. But either way, regardless. It's way too.
Both are terrible, but there's a big difference.
Yeah, either way, regardless, it's too late for anything like legal to come of it. Yeah. Some of the more recent allegations might be a different case, especially if there is stuff with like House of Cards.
Yeah. As far as like nothing will happen to him legally, but his career.
His career is done. Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, like this is. I would say this is easily worse than like. Well, I mean, it's different than the Mel Gibson thing from a while ago. But I don't know that I would say one's necessarily worse than the other. I think that's pretty much up to, or pretty heavily up to, like, personal, like,
because it sounds like the Mel Gibson thing.
Like what you value, you know. They're both okay. Yeah. They're both like indefensible, obviously, and they're both. I think they're really similar in the fact that they're not going to have any like legal repercussions, but I think both of their careers are done. Mel Gibson,
back, I guess it's not like,
but he's nowhere. But he's nowhere near where he was.
No, he's nowhere near where
I mean,
he was.
It's like, yeah.
This the dude.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's. I think from my understanding is Mel Gibson's taken a lot more of like a behind the scenes role, like
'cause I'm sure
producing, directing, writing.
And everything.
Well, yeah. But yeah, there is no coming back from this for Kevin Spacey. His career's over. At least. What? Okay. Anyway, like at least to the level that it was.
Oh, yeah.
But sure. You know, I'm sure he can act in some capacity in the future, but he's never going to be.
It'll be tough to
a headliner.
Find somebody that's willing to take him on and hire him. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm sure there's, you know, indie films out there that will do literally anything just to get their name.
I mean, that'll be a huge publicity. So
in the public, yeah. That's the thing is you know.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, get Kevin.
Now's the perfect time. The stock's pretty low.
Yeah, dude, this fly is literally pissing me off. Yeah. We hung out here. Didn't Hung try to catch a fly with chopsticks like the first week we moved here? I don't even think it was meant to be like a Karate Kid reference because I'm sure he's never seen that. The dude
probably never seen.
The dude didn't know who Paul McCartney was, so I'm sure he doesn't know. Yeah.
No, but speaking of the Beatles, Call of Duty World War II. How are you liking it?
What a segue. What a hell of a segue. How am I liking it? I don't like. It's definitely a lot of fun. I think we have differing opinions on,
for the most part,
on what Call of Duty is, I guess.
Like, I mean, I play CS:GO for a challenge. I play COD the fuck on some people, dog.
Yeah, Call of Duty is not a competitive game, you know. I feel like we just lost half the people because nobody really cares about this. But Call of Duty is not a competitive game to anywhere near the standards of like Counter-Strike or League or like Dota or anything like that. Even like Overwatch and like.
Yeah, I mean Overwatch makes more sense since there's more of a team aspect to that.
Yeah, and it's so.
Disc is too slow. Is up, dog.
I don't know. Why does your computer suck ass, dog? All right, we're back into it. Welcome back.
Yeah, technical difficulties again. That's my bad. I don't know. If it does that again, we should probably just solo mic it for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But, so we were talking about Call of Duty. We just branched off into Overwatch. Team aspect of that.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, Call of Duty as like a game overall is not designed to be as successful of an esport. It's not. It's more at least in my personal opinion.
I feel like what happens is they aim to create a game that everybody can pick up and play. Really low, learning curve to the games they put out every year.
Yeah.
And in that, there's, I mean, you see this like, at least with every COD, it feels like everybody's KD is trending like more towards a 1. Like everybody's becoming rather equal.
Well, especially with this game. I mean, everybody kind of knew it was going to go back to that because it's, you know, it's hard to have above if you have like above like a 2.5 KD for like an extended period of time, like through like a whole prestige or something in this game, that's incredible. Just because a couple reasons. One, I don't feel like with just going back to boots on the ground, you can't. Once you get a kill, it's a lot easier to get traded. And so you can't really do it. Like in the last games, you could get a kill and then you could get out by the time anybody would turn around and try and, trade you out. With this game, you can only move so quick. And so it's kind of hard to, I guess, get a kill and get out.
Yeah. Honestly,
Also,
I'm enjoying it, but I miss
jetpacks
a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, which
I wouldn't expect.
I mean, there's trade-offs for it. That's the thing is people said that it made Call of Duty less competitive, which it did. Because it added just a lot more like of a random aspect to it, but at least in my opinion, Call of Duty was never meant to be competitive. It's meant to be a game where you just jump on and you mess around with your friends for, a couple hours a day. Or like you just go on and
trending more towards that. I think at one point it was like if you weren't good at Call of Duty, you were going to get destroyed every single time you picked up a controller, and eventually you were the ones destroying kids.
Yeah.
But now it's like anybody can pick up and play the game.
Yeah.
It's rather,
well, because that's its niche. I mean, if it tried to compete as a competitive esport,
niche is like is everybody.
Its niche is the training wheels of first-person shooters. Yeah, I mean, it's the first game everybody plays, at least in that genre. Mm-hmm. It's you go to any other esport, almost everybody started with that, other than.
Oh, my rice is done, boy.
Oh my God, Jesus.
Yeah, but.
But yeah, they.
It's like I mean, I feel like we're the few that are still around for Call of Duty at this point, at least that have played like. In the old school games way in the past, because I know at least you look at content creators and YouTubers and influencers that are no longer really picking up COD and playing it, like they've grown out of it for the most part. I don't know how many CODs I have left in me. Yeah, I think a lot of, well, like you said, a lot of them kind of got away from Call of Duty, and then I think with this game, the big thing is that a lot of them have come back. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how long they stay past the initial rush of everybody, because there's a honeymoon period.
Well, it's not even if they like the game or not, they're going to come back because it's going to get viewership,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everybody's played Call of Duty. Everybody loved Call of Duty back in the day, and everybody either still loves it through the last few games, like I did, or they kind of went away from it. But now this is the one that's supposed to be, like the saving grace. It's supposed to be the comeback back to, the one that everybody loved. Yeah. But I think another aspect of it that this game is missing is. Its target audience is kind of like grown up to the point where like what am I saying? I don't think anybody really loved Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare as much as they claim they did for the game itself. I think everybody just loved it because at least in my understanding, everybody was at that age where you just came home and you got on. And it was more of the fact that it was just like more of like the social aspect of it than it was the game itself, and then also
more of like the surrounding aspects than the
Yeah. And it wasn't even anything great about the game itself. It was more of just, things people found to do in there. I always loved playing like cops and robbers or whatever and stuff like, or whatever, or like 1v1ing people more than I liked actually playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's always easy to look back at things with rose-tinted glasses as well, too. That's it.
Wow. I mean, I've never heard that before, but that was kind of...
Is that the phrase?
With a rose-tinted frame.
Because essentially you look back.
I mean, it would be like lenses, but...
Lenses. Rose... I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I think it's easy to fall victim to, like, looking back at things that you feel...
Well, it's like the nostalgic aspect of it, too. Yeah. But, yeah, that being said, for what it is, which is just a fun... cool game. You play Call of Duty for the big set pieces. You play it for like the cool maps. You play it for the really crazy weapons and stuff they have every year for the the customizability stuff, the constant action and stuff. Just because it's not something you want to sit down and like master. Well, okay. It's not that you don't want to.
It used to be a game where you almost could do that. It wasn't necessarily on the same level as CS or would have been Counter-Strike at the time, but it was a game with a skill gap.
Well, it would have been like
guys that have been hanging around to master it, and that people started. It was a lot more than it is now.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the thing is if they have to trend more towards just being training wheels, because if they try to compete with something like Counter-Strike on a pure competitive standpoint, they're gonna get destroyed because Counter-Strike since 1.6 has just been like perfecting that aspect of it.
Oh, definitely. No. Well, all I'm saying is that's what I enjoy out of a con.
Yeah, exactly.
To expect them to do that would be unrealistic.
Yeah, and because Counter-Strike doesn't even pretend to want everybody to play. Yeah. If you play Counter-Strike and you're bad or whatever at it, and you're not there, you will know. People will let you know. People will use their mics. People will kick you from the game. It's not.
Dog, what is? Oh my God, Jesus, screw it.
What does that even mean?
Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties again. I apologize on my behalf. It is my fault.
Damn computer.
And I'm sorry for that. We're going to try it one more time. I know I said that last time, but one more time. If that doesn't work, then we'll go solo, Michael.
I have a damn headache.
Goddamn headache, dude.
What were we talking about?
Talking about COD World War II.
Yeah, COD World War II.
Have you heard about World War II?
No. Was that a thing?
Yeah, tragedy of the...
Okay.
Yeah.
Siri, bitch, I don't want to talk to you. Okay. But yeah, so in terms so I think, is there anything else to talk about really in terms of like just overall Call of Duty?
No,
or do you want to get into this game?
swastikas.
This game. Oh yeah. So in this game specifically. So that was kind of Call of Duty overall, or my opinion on it at least. This game specifically, there are no swastika. I think there is in the campaign.
Is there? Okay.
That's what I've heard. I haven't played it yet. I've heard it's incredible, but I've been playing multiplayer. In multiplayer, there's not swastikas. They have like these weird little like alternative things, but they're very clearly meant to be swastikas.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like, oh, hey, that's not a swastika, but it's meant to be. Like, it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking PC bullshit, dog.
Jesus Christ.
Get it out.
But yeah, so this game, I like it better than I thought I might, to be honest. Okay. I didn't have the greatest hopes for it, just because like I am like a proud jetpacker.
Yeah, I would say I was too, but maybe not on the level you were.
Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. But yeah, in terms of this game, okay, so I know Scumpy made like a video. I think today, maybe either today or yesterday. Yeah, Optic Scumpy made a video where he kind of talked about his opinions of it, and I thought it was basically the same as mine, where he said that a lot of people were pissed that they only came out with nine maps on launch, but he said at least they're good maps. You know, like he basically said exactly what I thought, which is like at least like 8 out of the 9 maps are good. The only one that really sucks is the like Gustav Cannon one, because that map is just garbage.
Yeah. At first, I thought I was actually going to enjoy that map, but looking back,
it's fun to like you were saying, it's fun to like snipe on, but it's not a good map. And the other map I kind of don't like is like the trench one, but I think the main reason I don't like that is because it almost feels like a maze, and I feel like because I don't like it, I've been avoiding it, and because I've been avoiding it, I don't know my way around it as well as other people, and so then I just get shit on. So I feel like if I actually like played it more and understood how it's laid out a little bit better, I would like it more.
I think. I do think the thing about that map is it's so different, it beast in design. That so old school COD. The reason why this feels similar in more ways than just boots on the ground is because like the staple of map COD design was the 3-lane map design. Yeah. And then what we saw kind of turn into recently with the worst, the peak of that being Ghost, is it kind of turned into chaos for the most part, where it was still like 3 lanes in a way, but it's like they were all intersecting so much that it might as well not even be. And in this game, they kind of brought that back to where it has like the old COD feel, and that map is just so like far like the contrary to that I feel like that's why it feels at least like it's not like it's necessarily like terrible, at least as far as how it feels like a maze compared to like COD's past maps. It's just I feel like in this game like they pretty clearly are going for that map design. Yeah.
But yeah, so the maps are good overall. They all look good, they all play well. Haven't had any real issues with them. The weapons definitely need more balancing. Although I know they did they literally just tweeted out like I think an hour ago they had an update that came out, and we haven't played on there yet. And I know as part of that they did nerf the bar, and the bar basically was like just stupid. Like Scumpy was saying that it's basically they nerfed it, but not very much.
Before I got it.
They nerfed it a little bit, but even I think I saw like Clayster or somebody tweeted out like he honestly thinks it's better now that they nerfed it, because they nerfed its fire rate. And he said but they only nerfed it I think by like 7.5% or something, and so it's still faster than it's still faster than the FG or whatever the other one that everybody uses. And it's still what he was saying is that it almost feels like easier to control now that because its recoil isn't as bad. But he said honestly it made it better maybe. But so I don't know that the bar is too good. And I think the best way to balance that maybe isn't even to nerf that. It's almost to just make and like I think SMGs need a big buff because they're all like none of them are really that viable compared to like against the bar at least. What else did you talk about? There's a big issue with, at least in my eyes, talking about like okay. So grenades in this game, let me kind of preface this by saying grenades in this game are a lot bigger than, honestly, I think, than I can ever remember in the Call of Duty. Just, maybe it's just because I've been spoiled with like the last few.
First start to be used, was it like World War I that they at least like
forefront?
Or when were
in real
grenades?
life? I have no idea.
Yeah.
No clue.
So I mean, that makes sense why they'd be bigger. Is that where you're...
No.
I mean bigger as far as...
As in like gameplay. Like
they probably are actually bigger.
Size-wise?
And that's why you can't throw them very far.
Oh, but, yeah. No, yeah, whatever. But no, like they're used a lot more in this game. Yeah. And at least it feels like it. I think there's a few factors.
CODs, like, sorry to jump in, but I feel like you're going this way with at least like one of the examples is using a grenade was almost crushing a point because it's like you were missing out on another attachment or a secondary because you had a grenade.
Yeah, so they haven't...
And in this one, you're like forced to use...
That's the first thing is the way they changed how you create your class. Instead of having... They kind of went away from the point system that they've been using for the last few years to where, at those times, a frag almost seemed like a waste a little bit.
Because it's just like there was a real cost benefit to throwing a frag on your class.
Yeah. And so, it's just a one-time use thing, whereas, if you add like a stock or something on your AR, that's a huge thing in every gunfight that you're in the entire game. And so basically just like it was really hard to justify getting rid of something like Dead Silence or something like that in exchange for a frag. But that being said, so now with the way the class setup thing is, I guess, set up in this game, everybody has a grenade.
Jesus. Okay, screw this.
So we getting back into this or what?
Yeah. Sorry about that. My computer is just... I don't even know what to call it. I'm
just not ideal.
Just not ideal to say the least.
Are we in it right now? Or are we?
I feel like we're in it. So we are back to the 100 Guys podcast episode 2. Sorry about the technical difficulties. That is my fault. We will be sorting this out in the future. I know we said that the second podcast is going to be technical difficulty 3.
Free.
Oh man,
difficulty 3.
Technical difficulty 3. But that did not go as planned. But as I can say now, I promise next week there won't even be one little technical difficulty.
There may not even be a next week at this rate.
Really? What's that?
Fuck this show, dude. No,
this show fucking sucks.
Once my Twitch career takes Twitch TV /John_Danielson.
Yeah, and youtube.com/SpencerF.
Yeah,
but I mean more the John Danielson.
It's more about a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I had some notes about World War II because I knew this would come up.
Okay.
So basically, we covered.
I'd love to hear it.
We covered that 8 of the 9 maps are good. Gustav Cannon is ass. The trench map is good. I've just been avoiding it. Once weapon balancing, yes. The bar remains to be seen now that they have nerfed it, maybe even turned into a buff. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see when we actually play it. I think all SMGs need a boost. Maybe not even the SMGs themselves. Maybe there's other things you can tweak to bump them up, or I guess help that play style.
Because at this point you're outclassed when you're going up against
even close range. The bar is like a 3-hit kill. So I mean you can easily lose that even with an SMG. So yeah, that's a problem. And then I put I had either your footsteps need to be quieter or nades need to be nerfed in some way. Because at this point you're pretty much forced to choose.
I don't know. I kind of like the sound aspect of the game.
Well, that's the thing. But the thing is like
it's more prevalent than it has been in the past. Excuse me.
But like if you don't use mountain to make your footsteps silent or whatever, you're just going to get sound horde the entire time. You can tell where everybody is on the map, literally.
Okay. But you can sound horde as well. So I mean, it's something that's.
But you just can't even like. It just takes so much out of it, or just like.
I feel like it adds an aspect to the game.
What do you mean it adds an aspect to the game?
The sound.
Well, I'm not saying it needs to be silent. I'm just saying you shouldn't be able to hear people through like on the other side of the house, walking around.
Yeah.
They've never had a problem with it this much before.
Because even if they were to like, say, tone it down by like a fourth or a third, it'd still be much more than like the few previous.
Well, all they have to do. I'm not even sure what it's called, but there's like a basic training thing. I don't even know what you'd call it, but there's like a basic training that slightly reduces the sound of your footsteps, but even that doesn't make you silent. So I think one thing they could do is make that dead silence where you can be silent, and then you could have that, and instead of using like infantry or airborne, you could use like armored, and that could help get rid of some of the nades. Because like we were talking about before, nades,
there definitely
nades are so much more prevalent in this game because one, everybody has one. Two, everybody's used to this advanced movement where if a nade gets thrown at you, you can get away from it in time.
There definitely needs to be like some type of thing that balances out.
Yeah, you can't leave.
The OP-ness of grenades.
The OP-ness.
The OP. I got him.
But yeah, at this point, it's impossible you're forced into a situation where you have to decide between getting sound horde the entire game or getting just shit on by nades the entire game.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think the other thing they could do to balance that is just add the trophy system back.
Yeah.
Because that's the other reason that nades are so much more prevalent is there's no, especially in like hardpoint, like you used to be able to just throw down a trophy system and you were at least good for a little bit.
Yeah.
And unless the entire, like all four guys on the enemy team were running, full nades, you didn't really have to worry about it too much. But yeah, once you get rid of the trophy system, and I guess people could make the argument that it's just trophy systems aren't like realistic and they're not historically accurate, but
I mean,
I don't know if
there'd be some sort of like flak jacket or something that you could find.
Well, there is flak jacket in there, but but like you'd have to either use. Oh no! It keeps
good. I thought it crashed at first, but all I'm saying is that there could be something that is realistic that is like the antidote to grenades.
Yeah, maybe because like armored does that. There's also Hunker is a basic training that does that too. But you almost need something to get rid of the footstep aspect of it.
Yeah.
On most maps, otherwise, like especially, I'm talking more of like a competitive level, not necessarily in like pubs and stuff.
Okay.
But like from a competitive level, they're all they all have just like the most disgusting headsets. Like, and Scumpy was saying this exact same thing. It's like we all have the best headsets and like ridiculous sound.
Yeah.
We all have been playing this long enough that we understand what we're hearing and how to interpret it. And he's like, it just, it takes away so much of the actual like gun skill part of it, which Call of Duty's always been such a hugely gun skill heavy game.
Yeah.
That you kind of know where everybody is at all times.
Yeah.
And but I think the only argument against the trophy system is that it's not historically accurate. But
yeah.
I don't know that the trophy system's ever been historically accurate. Is that even a thing nowadays?
No, but I mean, I think it makes more sense at least
in
a
future
modern or futuristic
game.
But there'd be something that you could do that would be like almost the equivalent to
because that would with the trophy system, it allows you to basically counter nades without having to use up your basic training or your division.
Yeah.
It also then would make it so that not everybody is carrying around a nade. Unless they made it like a tactical, but even then, you don't always get to carry it. My understanding is that you get one or the other, unless there's I think either one of the divisions or one of the basic trainings. You get to have one of each.
So is there a type of armor basic training or division?
Like a flak jacket type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so armored.
Because I was going to say, like...
Armored, the LMG division has that aspect to it. Okay. And then also...
Because I was going to say, like, that it could actually... Like, I feel like the only realistic thing to put in place of a trophy system would be something like armor that you'd have equipped on your class that was on your character.
Yeah, but I can't think Hunker and armored are like that. Hunker is the basic training that does that, and then armored is the division that does that.
Okay.
But... Yeah, it's just that was my other big gripe with it, but I think overall it's still a really good game.
Yeah, I actually do enjoy it for the most part.
Every game has issues, especially with the gun balancing aspect. Every game has gun balancing issues right at the beginning. I mean, it took like months for them to fix the Vesper or whatever in Black Ops 3, where that would literally just melt people.
Let's think about Advanced. It was just Yeah, Advanced.
Advanced was
Val and
Advanced was
ASM.
yeah, but I mean, like by the end of the game, for like at least in that, like people used the IMR a little bit. That kind of faded away.
The IMR. Yeah, at least a little bit.
And at least they made like the more like at least viable enough that you could snipe in like S&D. But I mean, every game it kind of get like funnels to that point. Like Black Ops 3 got to that point where it was just like M8s and VMPs and.
Yeah, I guess VMPs were pretty decent, but still, you look at at least for the few first months of the game.
And then and then for almost all of IW, it was like the what is that? I literally was just like the NV4.
NV4, which was essentially like the M4
AR
of that game.
Yeah,
just like the standard.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be one that ends up just being like unanimously picked as being the best gun. But yeah, so I'm like the issues aren't that bad with it. Right now, I'm just saying there are issues, so I don't want people to like interpret it as me being like thinking it's a shitty game. No. But like, for what the game is designed to be, it does it really well. It is really true to the time period. The maps look really, really good. The gameplay is, I feel like like basically the perfect speed. It's not like too fast or too slow.
I'd agree. It's a little tough getting slow. It's initially really tough getting used to that after the past 3 years of jetpacking around the map, and now you're
but I mean with the movement system, you can't handle the same. Like you couldn't handle any like quicker gameplay. It's just not designed for that because you can't. You physically can't move very quick. I don't know. If anything, I feel like you should be able to sprint farther. That's always my.
I would agree. But, the obesity epidemic is.
But I mean, at least there's options to make that happen. You can use.
I mean, still, if you think about it, like your player is still a super soldier for the most part, because the time you're able to run across the map would probably take like 5 times longer for an actual soldier. But no, it's still.
What?
Because that's the thing in like Call of Duty. If you were to actually compare like your movement speed to realistic soldiers, like you're a fucking superhuman. Like you're running a mile in like 30 seconds. So like,
a mile? That's a little bit excessive.
It's pretty crazy though.
It's not that crazy.
At least 2 or 3 times faster.
Not really.
What? Really?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're fucking superhumans, dog.
No.
Yeah, they are. Because it's made, like, they purposefully did that so it's like a fast game.
Then they purposely, they might have tried to.
This one's probably the least to that extent. But like, if you to go back and play like MW2 and shit, like the guys are running across the map.
No recollection of how fast you ran in Modern Warfare 2. Well, it's been like a decade since I played it.
I guess so. Well, no, it's just the players that you're controlling are fucking superhumans. Hence why they're able to get across the map so fast.
They don't get across the map that quick in this game.
No, it's not as bad as it's been, but it's still much faster than the average soldier. But yeah, they do that. They do that so it's a fast-paced game.
Well, but yeah, solid game. Needs some tweaks, but didn't even have an open beta, did it?
No, they didn't have an open beta. It was just a closed beta for pre-orders. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
makes sense.
Yeah, it's understandable like that they're gonna need some tweaks. It came out a week ago, so whatever.
Yeah,
as long as they handle those and like respond to the feedback, then it'll be a good game. It'll be successful. I'm not sure on like a competitive level what kind of like viewership. I'm sure the first few events they'll get, the highest viewership they've had in a while.
I actually might tune in.
Shit, if you're gonna tune in, it must be good. But yeah, literally
must be good. Well, I mean, I come from a perspective of not having watched that much eSports in the past.
Yeah, I don't know how long, and Call of Duty's never. It doesn't really have any. It has COD champs every year. Other than that, it doesn't really have anything that is like really unique to its Call of Duty or its esports scene. Like Counter-Strike has basically the same thing as COD champs in the majors, but they have it like 4 times a year, and they're Valve sponsored, just massive events that they feel like a bigger deal, and it's like it's almost like golf, with the majors and stuff, where they just carry so much more weight. And COD champs obviously carries way more weight than any other Call of Duty tournament or CWL or anything like that. That's the other thing they kind of tried to do is the CWL, the COD World League, trying to get that, but that it's almost the COD World League is almost like the first attempt at like the new like Overwatch League. You know?
Okay.
Which the Overwatch League is going to be so sick. Have you heard about that?
Well, from what I've heard, it's so instead of it just being teams, teams are location locked essentially.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
represent
each
different
team
areas.
represents a different area of the country.
It's not as much that this year.
Okay.
So for the first season, so you know how they built that esports stadium in Burbank.
Yep.
So for the first season, all of the matches are going to be played at that studio in Burbank.
That's really cool.
And from what I've heard, it's super sick. I haven't seen it, but that should be.
Haven't
really
a bunch
cool.
of celebrities been buying into esports?
Yeah, a bunch of them have been
So-
buying Overwatch teams because it's the first one that's actually tried to.
Or Overwatch. Specifically.
Yeah. But so my understanding is the first season's all going to be played at that studio in Burbank, and then the second season, starting for the second season, all of the teams are going to have their own like home studios in their cities. So like Optic, they are like Houston and stuff like that. For example, they'll have their own stadium like studio in Houston.
Wow.
And all their matches will be played there and stuff. And it's all like a land.
Are they
thing.
going to be building new stadiums, or are they going to be using pre-existing?
No, I think they're going to be building new ones during this
that's a big
first year.
Yeah. And the only thing that I'm kind of wondering is how many teams do you think they'll have? Like at least if each one's representing a location.
Well, the thing is, because it's worldwide.
Yeah.
Because they can do that now because all of them were played on land.
At least
like
nationwide, U.S. specifically, how many teams do you think they'll have representing?
I could probably figure out what the exact number is. I mean, probably not more than like 10.
Okay.
But,
well, I didn't know if it was going to be like the NBA or MLB.
Because
we got 30 of them, but I feel like that'd be stretching the fan base out like too slim.
Here, Jamie, look that up real quick.
Jamie, pull that up.
No, because they represent multiple cities. So Optic represents mainly Houston, but also like San Antonio and like Dallas. So it's sort of like that. But let me see here. All right. So it looks like right now there's 12 total. Let me see what the cities are. So there's the Boston Uprising.
Okay.
The Dallas Fuel, the Houston Outlaws, the Florida Mayhem, the London Spitfire, which I want to say is Cloud9's team. I'm not 100% sure.
Really?
The Los Angeles Gladiators, the New York Excelsior, and I think they're a big organization too. Maybe like Envy or something like that.
Okay.
Some big organization. The Los Angeles Valiant, the Philadelphia Fusion, the San Francisco Shock, the Shanghai Dragons, and the Seoul Dynasty.
Okay.
So they have 2 international teams right now. But yeah, so that's my understanding of how it's going to be kind of organized, and that's going to be like the first time esports has tried to sort of transcend like the online thing, and it's more of like a it takes more of a physical thing. It's easier for people. I think it's
easier for people to identify with a team.
Overwatch is the first esport that's really going after conventional sports, fans, and trying to convert them. So to
be honest, I feel like this is going to be a process. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this is going to be a quick once we throw these teams in regions, people are going to start to recognize it. I don't know. I could definitely see it being something that's maybe in like a decade. But I think at least like really short term, I think it's going to be tough to turn like conventional sports fans into, because obviously. Yeah, I still recognize esports as an actual sport. There are many people, conventional sport fans, that don't.
Well, I wouldn't consider it a sport. I mean, I don't think it needs to be.
It's not a sport in the way.
It's a sport in the sense that competitive. That side.
Maybe a decade might be a little too long.
It doesn't need to be classified as a sport. I don't think.
All I'm saying is that to break essentially the taboo that esports has in many conventional sports fans' minds, I think is going to take time.
Well, it'll take time. It'll take time to get to anywhere near the level of weekly attendance that they're not going to get anywhere near the attendance that the NFL or NBA gets within years.
100%.
It's taken them decades.
They might be the Chargers, but yeah.
They
Because the Chargers have been bringing in like 5,000 people.
There's like 5th grade plays that bring in more viewers
than
the Chargers, but like, but at least so I think through the first thing that obviously the big notable thing is the more physical thing where they're trying to have people represent regions, to kind of give people that like hometown spirit, thing
Definitely.
to make it easier to like get into it, and because that's the big thing about sports. It's really hard I feel like for even a lot of like sports fans to just sit down and just watch. It's like, say you're just like a diehard like Cubs fan, like you, whatever. It's probably not the easiest thing in the world for you to sit down, no matter how much you love baseball, and just watch like a random game between two teams you don't care, like a Padres Rockies game, and just sit there and watch the entire like 4-hour game. It's and so like when you're first getting into esports, if you don't have a team that you are already automatically behind, you're kind of get that feeling no matter who's playing. It's not
regions will be a way
I think
to, I guess, like push that.
And like that's how I got it. Like the only reason I got into it was because I already knew a lot of the dudes that were like on Optic and stuff. So I was just naturally an Optic fan.
I'm definitely not in it to the extent that you are, but that was who I followed when I did watch.
Yeah,
it's because it was like those are the big names.
And if
guys
you
at the time like Nadeshot and Scumpy.
And if you don't have like a team that you're already behind in some capacity, it's really hard to sit down and watch enough to get to the point where you do have a team like that. And so I think that's one of the big barriers. So like I think that's the main thing behind the hometown thing, like representing regions. It's just to give people like this is who you're cheering for now. We like to kind of make the decision for you. If you're from Houston, you now like the Outlaws.
But it's, as far as where I saw esports going, I think it's a genius move.
And then I think the other main thing is that's really helping Overwatch is they're also the ones that are going out and they're actively. It's not like all these like celebrities and professional athletes just like are happening to choose Overwatch. Like I'm under the impression that Blizzard is going out and actively targeting them and saying this is why you should invest in an Overwatch team.
It could be a win-win.
And then they say, look at what we're doing in terms of organizing it in this way that's never been done before. And it's something that they can relate to more because they played conventional sports. Most of them, a lot of them, some of them are like just celebrities, like actors and stuff. But it's not just athletes; it's also ownership groups. I know the 76ers ownership group owns a team now.
The Heat do
too. The Heat do too. Magic Johnson owns a team now. But there's also
tweet in the drafts.
But and so I think that's another way for them to bridge the gap is they can use. If they can get these people on board, you get Magic Johnson to buy a team in there. If he's invested in his own money, you better believe he's going to do everything he can.
He's got a lot of it
to get support, and that's an instant, huge channel straight into their target market,
straight into the mainstream target market because these are guys that household names.
That
everybody's aware of.
That's the thing is you go
because isn't like A-Rod, J-Lo, Shaquille O'Neal.
And Michael Strahan and
Rick Fox to a lesser extent is a big name, but still,
Who else? Marshawn Lynch.
Pitbull maybe. Is that off?
I don't think Pitbull owns a team.
I don't fucking know.
But
Pitbull.
There's a team in Florida, but maybe.
I don't fucking know.
It's just like not only are they getting the money, and then what's mainly, I guess, somewhat with the athletes and celebrities, but mainly with the ownership groups that they're getting to now own Overwatch teams. Those people know how to. Not only are you getting their money, but you're getting their wisdom of they've run successful conventional sports organizations. They know how to drive attendance. They know how to market. They know they have connections with people. In conventional TV, air. Like channels and stuff. Like they know. They know so much more than I'm sure anybody at Blizzard does about how to organize a successful competition league. I don't want to call it like a sports league, but
am I correct? Did Jerry Jones maybe make an investment?
Jerry Jones just did,
Okay,
I think he bought it.
Because that is a name that comes to mind as somebody who knows how to get shit like that done.
And so it's just like a huge wealth of knowledge and just connection with sponsors, with TV stations, with fans. Potential just like untapped. Fan base that it should like that. Whether I think that's the main. I think the main way they're going to destroy the stereotype around it is getting these people their target market respects already. You know, it's like if I tell somebody like, oh yeah, esports is dope, dude, you should check out the Counter-Strike tournament this weekend or whatever. People are going to be like, okay, yeah, cool, and then they're not going to do it. You know,
it's much different if
Magic Johnson is telling you
with as much influence
watch the, you know,
have.
It's you know, or A-Rod or Marshawn Lynch. You know.
Oh yeah. Did he invest?
He partially owns the same team as Shaq, J-Lo, and A-Rod.
Okay, that's awesome.
And Strahan.
Okay. They're all in one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, they all like partially own. I know what they're. I'm not sure which city they are. I think they're LA, but I think there's 2 LA teams. But they're probably the Valiant then. Whatever. Don't quote me on that. Actually, maybe they're the.
That's 100 guys stat right there. 100 guys fact. Cheat 100, yeah.
They're either. I would bet quite a bit of money that they're either one of the 2 Los Angeles teams or the San Francisco team.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's how they're going to get people to just tune in initially.
Yeah.
Is through you know, Shaq tweets it out.
Yeah.
Or something. Then it's a lot more likely than if
amount of reach.
Than if Nate Shot does even. At least into
because
that,
you're breaking into somebody that has a different
thing. And then I think the whole like cities, representing regions thing is how they're going to get people to actually get into it and stay. How they're going to sell merch, how they're going to sell tickets.
I definitely think it's a move in the right direction for sure, and one that I didn't see coming, at least in the near future.
Yeah, and that's huge for Overwatch because Overwatch had so much potential because it was like.
It's like a team oriented.
Yeah, it kind of bridged the gap between like MOBAs and first person shooters. And it was from the start, Blizzard said, this is going to be our esport. We're going to get behind this. We're going to support this from the start. Even when it was still in beta, they had tournaments just like Paladins. But so they've been having tournaments since closed beta.
Yeah.
But it's never really gotten to anywhere near the level that people thought. It's been out for like 2 years or something now.
Yeah.
And they maybe had like 2 lands.
Okay.
Or something because there's just never been something huge. Well, I don't think anybody really has played. Maybe they've had more than like 2 lands, but nobody on like your average professional Overwatch player has maybe played in 2 lands, 1 or 2. They've had they have like the Overwatch World Cup and stuff like that. Those are always big events, but it's never gotten to the level of like Counter-Strike and 7 or like League, and it's going to take a while for that to happen.
Yeah.
At least on like a global. Like,
do you think it can get
scale? I think it'll be really hard. It's being. It depends on how they handle it internationally.
Okay.
I know the reason that games like League and Dota are so big in like Asia compared to like here. Is because in Asia a lot of people don't have a lot of people don't personally own like a really nice PC and they don't have good enough internet, so they go to internet cafes and they play there. And so games like Dota and StarCraft or whatever and League that are like free to play, then every internet cafe is going to have those. Whereas a game even like Counter-Strike that's $15, or whatever, that's adds up. If you're an internet cafe and you have 30 PCs, and you have to buy it for each one, they're going to be a lot more likely to just get a free-to-play game. And so that's why Counter-Strike's not necessarily in all of those. And so it's not as widespread. The player base in general isn't as big there as it is here, where everybody has, well, not everybody, but everybody that... the vast majority of people who want to get into that have good enough internet. They have they have access to a good enough computer. And then once you have that stuff, $15 for a game is nothing.
It's not going to break the bank.
Yeah. And so it depends
on
how
It's not like
they
Counter-Strike's the most ridiculous game to run either.
Yeah, and so they that's the way they handle it will be a huge determining factor in that. I know it's already decently big in some of those parts of the world. Like South Korea, absolutely. My understanding is that they absolutely just destroy everybody in Overwatch. I haven't been following it very closely, but I think they won. I want to say they won the Overwatch World Cup in the last couple weeks. I know they eliminated the United States, but yeah, so it just depends on how they handle it with that, like cost-wise. Maybe make it free to play there, or maybe do like what Paladins did, where it's free to play and then you can buy the characters. Because that's how a lot of them are.
That's how most free to play.
Yeah, that's most free to play ones
are. The free to play kind of the freemium model essentially.
Yeah, and so But it just depends, But if they're charging like $60 a pop, then it's just going to be such a like a crutch, on that. But we'll see. I think if they are going after the conventional fan or like conventional sport fan market, the United States is going to be their biggest focus.
I mean, because that's the worldwide leader in sports.
Yeah. Well, that's ESPN, but
it actually is. Excuse me. Speaking of that, do you see that they are laying off like 100 more people?
I sure didn't. 100 guys.
100. Shit. ESPN used to have 100 more guys.
They said 100 guys.
No, but they said I think it's coming within the next month, and they just had a huge layoff just a little while ago, which is something you see in the conventional sports media and kind of the. I don't know. Like, I definitely think I don't. At least for like, when's the last time you've gotten your news? Sports this news? In particular is sports news, but news in general, like from watching TV.
And then the election.
Yeah, same for me.
Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or like in Planet Fitness when you're not like when CNN's up, not because you choose to necessarily, but because it's the only thing on.
I work at Planet Fitness. If you guys didn't know, there's no reason for you to know, but that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's another topic we talk about. All the stereotypes of Planet Fitness.
We could.
Fuck with me, I'll lunk alarm your ass, dog.
Whoa. Yeah.
No judgment, of course.
Real quick, I think we're due for a topic change. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, dude, we're due for some double XP weekend, dog.
Real quick, how about this? So what just happened is this Sledgehammer, or was it Activision?
Either one.
Either one. The publisher or developer, who cares? Who gives a shit? Announced that this weekend is double XP for Call of Duty World War II.
Sledgehammer Games did.
Sledgehammer Games, a topic that we covered recently on the 100 Guys podcast. So we'll probably get to that a little bit later. But with our last topic of the night, I figured we'd do the weird news story of the week. Should we get right into it?
Ow. Yeah.
So I will
hop on into it.
Let's see. Instead of reading this article, should we pull it up and watch the video for it?
Yeah.
It's not a long article. I can read it if you want me to. You know what? We haven't done a video this week. If I were to send you a link, would you be able to pull it up through text? Like through iMessage or whatever? Is that set up? Computer? Yeah.
Probably easier for you to just tell me.
Okay, let's see. Let me just shoot it to an email real quick. No, that'd be dumb.
Fuck that, dude. I'm gonna be quick on this. That's gonna look really weird. This. Turn that. Alright. Assuming it's not Jesus Camp.
Is that pulled up?
Yeah.
So type in man fakes his death.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Oh, we should still cover this anyways because it's pretty crazy. To help police catch wife. Yeah. And then if you look that up, it should pop up. Man fakes his death to help police catch wife.
Yeah, I got you.
And then it is an ABC Fox 5 link.
Fox 5 DC?
Fox 5 DC, correct. Did I say ABC?
It said ABC Fox.
That doesn't make any sense at all. It's a Fox 5 DC article. What we can do is there's a video for it. Haven't pre-watched that, but we can pull that up and watch it.
Yeah, I watched it. It's approved.
Pretty fucking dope.
Pretty fucking nutty.
By the way, I feel like we should kind of clarify when we like joke about previous topics and stuff. This is something that like we, off the record, off the podcast, off the recording, have had conversations about. So it's not like you're necessarily getting our first reactions to everything. So I feel like we kind of handle it.
There it is.
Probably more like lighthearted than we should. But it's something like objectively that like, I don't know. It's ridiculously bad that you couldn't even argue against that for the most part. Like obviously that's still. Whoa.
Do we? Here, I wonder.
Let's see, do you want to see if it's working in OBS real quick? Well, yeah, like I'm saying, I feel like we take a much more lighthearted tone on the podcast than we do in our actual real life conversations because these are tragedies, as we do state. But yeah, I don't know why I feel the need to clarify that. I'm just a little bitch. What am I even doing right now? What's up, dogs? What's good with you guys? Thanks for tuning in. If you're still here at this point, we're recording this at 12:45 in the morning. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I have this laptop. It's a pretty decent laptop too. Like it shouldn't be having any problems, but I've had problems with it. And yeah, it's been less than ideal.
All right, we're live.
To say the least. Okay, we're live.
I'm not sure how the sound is going to be, but
You can just turn that shit all the way up, and then because it doesn't record through OBS, right?
it should. It does on my computer, like on my desktop, obviously, when I'm like streaming.
What you can do is you can just turn it up, and that way, if it doesn't, we have that as a backup. Do you want to turn it up a little, or is that okay? Yeah, that's fine.
Married his dream girl, Maria, or so he thought. They were married for 6 years, but for like 50% of marriages here in this country, she wanted a divorce. Instead of waiting for it to be finalized, Maria took things into her own hands to end it once and for all by hiring a hitman to kill her husband, Ramon, for a small fee of $2,000. What Maria didn't know...
God damn, that's a forehead if I've ever seen one.
Ratted her out. Ramon then went to Montgomery County deputies and worked with them to take her down. But that meant Ramon had to fake his own murder, his own death. That means this. Take a look. He's lying in a grave pretending to die from a gunshot wound to the head by the hitman. The pictures were sent as proof, and then deputies did their work. Maria is now serving 20 years in prison for the crime. And joining me now is the man behind the bizarre story, Ramon Sosa. When you realize a woman that you thought you loved for so many years, and you thought
This is
she
so
loved you
just
as well, and you
ridiculous.
realized she wanted to put a bullet in your head, and when they showed her the photos of your body, she laughed.
It was a very horrible feeling, a lot of rage, a lot of different emotions. I just couldn't believe that this person at one time we were such a love. Now she's dead, she's laughing. It's such a lot.
As quickly as you could put it, what went wrong with the relationship where she wanted out, she wanted a divorce from you?
In hindsight, I believe that, we were having our marital problems just like any other marriage has. We had gone through marriage counseling. We had a business together. We had some business problems. And slowly our marriage started deteriorating. So she wanted out. We went through counseling. It didn't work out. And then at the end, we said, let's get divorced. And we were just 1 month away from our divorce. She decides to take life.
Could you believe that?
I didn't believe it.
So when your friend came to you and said, your wife just came to me and said, she wants you murdered for $2,000, what was it like?
I didn't want to believe it. First, I thought it was just a joke. I said, look, it's not a joke. What's going on? I was driving at the time when he called me. I pulled over and I had to gather myself. And he said, yeah, she wants to kill you.
And so you got law enforcement involved. The photos that we see where you appear to be dead from a gunshot wound to the head, how did you come up with those photos and how did you eventually arrest, or how did law enforcement eventually arrest your wife?
Well, the person that first told me about that she wanted to kill me, we had our own little investigation ourselves. We did our own little thing. And then when we thought we had enough to get her, we went to the police, gave her all the evidence, and then they got involved. The Montgomery County Precinct 3 and the FBI and state police. And then they did their own investigation. And that's when they came with the idea after they had been doing the undercover investigation. We're just going to have you dead. Yeah, we'll take a picture of you dead in the grave, and we want to show it to her to show her that we have proof
she did.
Yeah, she wanted all my life insurance. You know how much when I went to
That's fucking.
and she lived pretty well.
But we're glad you're alive.
I'm probably cut that there. I think it wraps up. So, to summarize that, if the audio wasn't perfect, they were married for 6 years. She wanted a divorce. Instead, she hired a hitman for $2,000 to kill him. The hitman turns out to be a friend of the husband and then rats out his wife to the husband. The husband fakes his murder and sends pics to the cops for evidence. They investigate, and now she's serving 20 years in jail. So, yeah.
What? Sends pics to the cops?
Yeah, well,
no, the cops sent pics to her.
Well, yeah, but well, technically that happened like after, because he took the pictures.
No,
How did that work?
No, the cops. He went to the police.
By the way, this isn't my summary.
No, he went to the police and said,
God damn, we're doing a podcast.
"Fucking shut up, dude." Motorcycles are sick.
Feel free to correct
I like motorcycles.
Because what happened?
Okay, so my understanding is his friend, the potential hitman, called him up and was like, "Yo, your wife just basically tried to get me to offered me $2,000 to kill you." And then he said they did their own little investigation to make sure that that's actually that they weren't just wrong. And that's actually what she wanted.
Yeah.
And then once they thought they had enough, they went to the police. The police then basically were trying to figure out how to go about their investigation. They figured that the best way to kind of catch her in the act was to do an undercover thing where they basically set her up by them staging it where he had gotten shot, had the supposed hitman send her the pictures as proof that he was dead, and then she responded basically laughing. And then that was enough for them. I'm sure she said,
and then
agreed
she pled
to payment and
guilty.
stuff. And so basically through doing that, they were able to get enough evidence to arrest her, and then she pled guilty in order to bring her sentence down.
So it was a piss poor Twitter summary that I happened to quote. So blame's on them, obviously.
Yeah, fuck them.
But no, that story's crazy. Like we were talking about earlier, kind of like where people can have a separate side to them that you don't necessarily see. To think the person that you trust most in the world could do something 6 years, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what a delightful topic to wrap this up on.
Yeah. So in conclusion, pretty nutty.
Oh, another thing we could talk about just real quick. This is a couple minute thing, but I was gonna mention this just randomly one day. But have you seen? You remember the really shitty discount sporting gear Champion? Do you remember that brand?
Yeah, the one that's huge now?
Yeah. Never saw that coming.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking crazy. Pretty crazy.
It seems like a lot of that. That's happening a lot more now. Adidas over the last few years has become way bigger. They're basically
what are some
new
brands now that you see that could become bigger in the future?
I think in the next year or two, I think Puma is the new Adidas.
Okay.
Puma is going to be what Adidas was 2 years ago, where it's they're definitely, I think, in line to become that. That's my
self. I guess if we knew,
launching my fashion blog next week. No, I have no clue. No, that would be my pick. Puma.
Dude, some of the stuff Champion's launching now actually looks really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, really shitty. It looks terrible. No, some of the stuff actually looks pretty cool. I feel like picking some up sometime. But yeah, we'll have to see. Because as they say, she had 100 guys. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast. And anything else you kind of want to?
Invest in Puma. You heard it here first.
Investigate 311. Invest in Puma. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and have 100 guys. An afternoon, night, day, or morning.
And beware the number 11.
And beware the number 11 skull bones. All right. Okay.